staff and hanging on to some people and then attacking this thing, with the new staff. Has been very exciting. We've had a good day today, and looking forward to working, with the young men. I felt like, in kind of what Coach said, we've hit all our needs. We didn't have a big need for up front because we have a lot of people coming back, but we did hit a couple target guys that we were obviously we were targeting. I like the linebacker class that we have, and then we brought in a pretty good group in the back end. So I feel good about the young men that we have brought in. That'll be a part of this thing, and looking forward to the future.
Question? Coach mentioned having you walk in with him for recruiting visits, gave him some credibility in the state because people know you. What did you tell people when they asked you, coaches do have connections? Because you don't know him that well yet, but you've been working with him. What was kind of your pitch on why coaches should trust Coach Monday?
For the same reason they trust Coach Beamer. Very similar guy in a lot of ways. Very caring, very detail oriented when it comes to as far as a football guy. But when it comes down to the developing the relationships and how we've done that and in the past and what's made us successful here, he's the same guy. And once he got a chance to visit with the coaches. Once he got a chance to visit with the recruits, they saw that, and I'm excited about that next chapter with him leading the charge. And we've had a lot of opportunities the last couple of weeks to ride around together quite a bit, but we're in good shape with this guy with Justin and Coach Fuente leading the charges here.
Who drives?
Well, usually it's like it always is. It's usually the assistants drive, but Coach done a great job. He came in and balanced what we had kind of established, particularly with had some mid-semester guys coming in. Did a great job going and seeing those guys and keeping them committed because we felt like we had a couple critical positions, in particular receiver, obviously quarterback. You had the Jackson kid committed, and then going out and getting Gerard. That was big, to create some competition. But he did a great job of just getting out and getting connected with the guys that he needed to get connected with, and then we've attacked this state, and then the players that we targeted outside the state, and he did a great job of getting out to meet everyone and get to know the recruits, the families, and the people that were involved in their decisions.
Coach, did you ever feel at any point during the recruiting process that you had to resell the program or the philosophy of the program to any of these recruits?
No, not necessarily. I mean, this program, we've done a lot of good things. I mean, and I think every program is going to, and what we've done here in the past has been dynamic. Every program kind of stalls a little bit. I wouldn't say but now what the message is, with a dynamic offensive guy and his staff coming in that's been dynamic, and then what we've been we've been able to do and capable of doing defensively here, when you start putting those things together, and when we've had a dynamic offense, we've done some dynamic things as a football program, and that's really was the big selling point, and the people identify that, and that know Virginia Tech and have followed us over the years. They recognize that what potential we have, and that's really exciting. That's the thing. I think more than anything, I think the recruits, the coaches, the people around the area really see a new enthusiasm, a new excitement, and a new future, and an exciting future, and that's really where I see this thing going out and how it feels out in the public eye right there and around the coaches and the recruits.
And you mentioned the linebackers. Do you like the variety of guys that you got in this position?
I do. The Beckett kid we've targeted from day one, and he's a 7'5" guy, really good football player, explosive, can play in space, can play in tight spaces, very physical. Has great ball skills, just a complete football player. And I like what he's all about, and I think he's going to help us down the road in recruiting the 757 area. Emmanuel Belmar's been committed to us for a long time. I was talking with our radio people earlier doing the Hokie Sports Show. Emmanuel reminds me of Nikos Brown. He's maybe a little bit taller, a long kid, but played a lot with his hand on the ground and coming off the edge. Very explosive, though, very dynamic. He could play a couple positions because I think he's going to be a big kid. He's about 234 pounds right now, but I think he has a chance to be a really big kid, but he's very athletic, can bend his body. Had 10 sacks and an additional 20 minus yardage plays. So, has the ability to be a big-time playmaker. And then I really think one of the sleepers in our class is the kid Aaron Carter. Great student, not a good student, a great student, was really approached and heavily by the academies, which makes a statement about him. But more of a true Mike linebacker, but more of a thumper type guy. I mean, good in tight spaces, a good finisher, and a lot of players being knocked back when when he was making the plays. But I really like the group of kids. I like their diversity as far as athletic ability. I like their intelligence, and as far as their football IQ. And I think we've got a good group there.
Bud, with Charlie on the signing day show, heard him mention Jimmy Taylor as a guy that could play as soon as next year, coming in mid-year and with the losses you've had to graduation on the defensive line. Do you agree with that assessment?
Well, we'll see. It's I've seen Jimmy myself run a couple times, and there's obviously a learning curve. You're only going to get 15 days of practice, and that's really that, and then you've got a summer. I'm excited about Jimmy, but we'll see where he goes. That position is going to be a critical position for us this spring, our DN position. We redshirted 3 guys from last year. We have one guy out. Seth Dooley's going to miss spring ball with the shoulder surgery. So that really only gives us Kenny Canham back that has any experience. So, there's going to be 4 young guys, playing for the first time and getting quality reps this spring and learning every day and growing every day. But I'm excited about what Jimmy's going to bring to the table, and I'm excited about what the other guys are going to bring to the table. They're athletic. They're working hard right now. And, but that's going to be we're going to have to grow up in a hurry at that position. And, because that's been a playmaking spot for us over the years when we've been good. Defensively, that's been a good position for us. And, we're going to need to grow up in a hurry there. It's a little bit more yes and no. You'd like to have a big kid that, when you're playing against 21 or 12 or 22 type personnel, meaning 2 back, 1 tight end, or 1 back, 2 tight end type personnel, more heavier type people. It's good to have those kind of people in the game in short yardage situations or in those scenarios. But the game's getting so spread out right now that I think we have enough people in place, though, to be able to play a whip, and even a backer could play a whip position in a short yardage or multiple back, multiple tight end, personnel and formations. But you've got guys already in place, big safeties moving down, like an Anthony Shagog, or even some kids that we have in our class, this current class coming in. I really like what Reggie Floyd's about. He's a big physical kid that, allows us the potential to do a lot of different things, and that's kind of what we've done with that position. We've really more a 4-2-5 than we are a 4-3. We claim ourselves to be a 4-3, but we're probably closer to being a 4-2-5 type scheme anyway. But there are a couple guys that fit that mold already that can play that seem to be a little more productive closer to the line of scrimmage.
We always hear that the closer you are to the ball, harder it is to play. And it's correct. Do you subscribe to that theory? And does it matter defensive tackle inside versus outside?
I think it does. A lot of things happen in the box. You have to have great vision. If you're a half a step slow, you're going to get dinged from one angle or the other. I think it's a little easier to play in space early. I think sometimes the terminology and what you're asked to do as far as a mindset, as far as a mental capacity and the movements you're asked to do can stress you a little bit more inside. Plus, the guys are bigger, stronger, a little more mature inside. Not that they aren't that way outside, but it's not more of as much hand-to-hand combat on the perimeters is on the interior. Yeah, we'll see how all that works out with some of these guys. But I think, we've got a couple young kids that I really like from last year, and it kind of, and you plug in a couple guys I really like. The Hewitt kid, I think he's twitchy. Reminds me a lot of Luther and a lot of his quickness and explosiveness, kind of a mix between Luther and Corey Marshall, a guy that can flatten out and chase the ball from sideline to sideline. I like what he's all about. Then you throw Jimmy in, with our kids that we have coming back, at our end position, we've helped ourselves, I think, up front. We've got to grow up in a hurry, though. We really do, particularly at the end position.
You guys recruited Juan Quillen as a sort of blanket athlete. You slotted him as a defensive back coming in as opposed to safety. Is that, do you envision him staying there and sticking there, or is that something where you put him in the spring and start him out at safety, but maybe anticipate moving him around?
Well, he was in camp, and we really liked his competitiveness, and we've always liked recruiting the quarterbacks. Those guys, bring to the table a good football IQ, and obviously, if it's an athletic quarterback, they bring a lot of athleticism, and that's what Javon's going to do. Smart kid, tough kid. I like the way he competed in camp. It was we offered him right away after. Obviously watching this film and that type of thing from high school. Comes from a great program, well coached, and I really like what he's all about. We'll look at all those guys on the back end. We'll look at their ability to cover first, because all of our safeties, particularly our free safety and our two corners are involved really in coverage. The one guy that we can protect a little bit and maybe not have to play as much away from the line of scrimmage is our rover position. But we'll find that out and evaluate those guys and put them in the right spot to maximize their strengths and minimize their liabilities at the end of the day. That's our ultimate goal. So then when those guys they're feeling good about themselves, they're performing well, they're feeling they've got a lot of self-confidence. They're playing well, our defense is playing well, then our football team's playing well.